Welcome back to my channel, everyone. So today I'm going to discuss about one of the chapter that you have to decode. What is the chapter that I am explaining? Okay, so this is the trick here. So my first question to you is that everything alive is made up of what? Right, everyone is correct. Every living organism that is present in our world is made up of tiny particle, the basic unit of life, that is the cell, right? So if the cell is not there, then no life has been formed, right? So cell is the basic unit of life that you need to know. Every living organism living in this planet have the cell, and it is the smallest unit of the body of them. Now we move forward. As you all know, that cell is the basic unit of life, and from that one cell, many cells have developed. At first in the world, only single or unicellular organisms were there. And then evolution happened and multicellular organisms came. Multicellular organisms means are the organisms which have multiple number of cells in their body. So from that one cell, many cells have come, and that cells which are performing the same function, they form the tissue. And from the tissue, the organ has developed, and from that organ, the whole organism has been developed. So this is a very complex process. It took millions of years, because when the first cell was formed, from that time to form an organism, it has taken millions of years. So you have to now think and answer me a few questions. Can the cells be seen with naked eyes? No, right? Because cells are so small in size, you cannot see them with naked eyes. You need to have a microscope to check the cell, to check the anatomy of the cell. Now, what is the anatomy? Anatomy means the internal structure of the cell. To study that, you need to have one microscope. How many cells make up the human body, and why it is difficult to give an exact number? Can you say that I have this many number of cells exactly in my body? No, right? We cannot say that, because for us, the human beings, we are made up of trillions number of cells, and we cannot count that. Okay, and this is different for different individuals. Why? Because our height is different, our weight is different, so that's why the number of cells in our body is also different. So that's why we cannot ever count it. Okay, next, why do you need or think cell needs to work together in a group? What is the term used to describe such a group of similar cells performing a specific function? The cell need to perform in group, right? Otherwise they will not be able to perform all the activities in a multicellular organism, right? Because multicellular organisms are much more complex than the unicellular organism. Unicellular organism has only one cell, and by utilizing that one cell only, they perform all the activities. But for multicellular organism, for different purposes, they have different cells. Like digestive system has digestive cells, nervous system has neuron, right? So these different types of cells are there to perform different activities in our body. Now the group of cells which are performing the similar functions, we tell them the tissue. Okay, I hope it is clear. 3 questions I have given you, and I have also discussed the answer. I hope you have understood. Till now, if you have any problem, you can drop a comment. Next, if there was no cell on the earth, then what would have occurred? If there is no cell, that means there will be no life, right? Because cell is the first component which has brought living cell, or which has brought life in this earth. So if there is no cell, that means no plants and no growth of the plants. And if there is no plants, that means plants are the autotrophs, everybody knows. So if autotrophs are not there, that means whole ecosystem was not being developed, right? So no any individual has been formed if there was no cell. Because of the cell only, we can call it a smallest hero. Because of the cell only, we know that first the unicellular organism has grown. From there, the multicellular organism has come. The simple cell that has been formed at the beginning of the earth that we can call the prokaryotic cell, which do not have any nucleus. We will further discuss this. And then what has happened? Complex cell has formed, that is the eukaryotic cells, right? Eukaryotic cells have the nucleus, and all the complex organisms, they have the eukaryotic cells. Like human body has the eukaryotic cells, and also plant cells have the eukaryotic cells. Okay, all the higher level of organisms, they have the eukaryotic cells. They do not carry the prokaryotic cells, because prokaryotic cells is the simple cell which lack the nucleus and also membrane bound organelles, right? I hope you have understood this part. Now we will see that how the study of the cells have been done. So for that, you have to know what is mounting. So whenever we are taking a specimen, it can be from an animal source, it can be from a plant source. I have given two pictures here. One picture is that a skin peel is taken from the dog, and another picture is that we have taken a small part of the leaf from a fresh green leaf. So what we have done here, we have taken those samples, we have placed it on a glass slide, and we have covered it with the cover slip. Okay, and obviously you have to put some amount of glycerin or some amount of water whenever you are placing the specimen over the slide. Otherwise it will become dry and you will not be able to see under the microscope. Okay, so for that, the process that we are using whenever we are taking a specimen and we are placing it on the the slide and we are covering it with a cover slip, this process is called mounting. Okay, and as you can see in this microscopic view images, that all these images have some colors. Now we all know that the cells in our body, they do not have any color. Maybe the plant cells can have the color because they have chlorophyll, right? But the animal cells, they do not have a color. Whenever you collect them, they will be transparent. So to see them under the microscope, what you have to add? You have to add one stain. Okay, so stain is a compound or a chemical which is providing color to particular specimen, whatever we want to observe under the microscope. Understood? So if stain is not there, you will not be able to see the cell properly because it is transparent in color. That's why here we have used, as it is, as we can see in this image, that the dog cell is being seen in violet color. So we can predict that the stain here observed or taken is crystal violet. Okay, that can be one stain. Another stains are also there, that is methylene blue, and then saffron is there. Different types of stains are there. Okay, based on your specimen, you have to choose which stain you are choosing. So I hope that you have understood the concept of mounting. Whenever you are taking the specimen and placing it on a slide and like covering it with a cover slip and observing it under the microscope, that whole process is called mounting. And if you are just putting a drop of water and a drop of glycerin and just normally covering it and seeing under the microscope, then we call it a temporary slide. And the process of permanent slide preparation is a bit more complex, but for the school level we usually use the temporary slides. I hope you have understood. So now there is a question for all of you. Can you tell me the difference between the dog cell and the leaf cell by looking at the microscopic picture? Here I have given two microscopic views, right? So one cell is having the dog cells under the microscope and one view is having the plant cell under the microscope. There is some differences, right? So can you observe that? Pause the video and think. I hope you have think. So now I will explain what is the differences. For the dog cells, as you can see, the cells are irregular in shape. Now can you imagine why it is irregular? Because the animal cells lack the cell wall, right? Cell wall is absent in them. So that's why no proper shape is there in case of the animal cells. And in case of plant cells, they have the cell wall, which is giving a rigid shape to the cell of the plant cell. That's why they have a proper rigid shape. And also plant cell consists of the organelle, that is chloroplast. Chloroplast is absent in case of the animals. Chloroplast is the organelle which is carrying the pigment called chlorophyll, okay, which is helping the plant to perform the photosynthesis. I hope you have understood this part. So now my question, do plants have skeleton? We know that humans have a skeleton, right? But do plants have a skeleton? No, right? So how the plants are standing? Is it a big question, right? Then I am going to explain it. Plants will have this cell wall that I have shown you in this image, microscopic image. Okay? And as you know that this plant cell which is having the cell wall, this cell wall is providing the rigid shape to this plant cells. And also plant cells have large number of vacuoles which are very large in size also, and it is storing the water and other minerals inside it, and it is building a pressure from inside the cell and putting that pressure to the cell wall so that the cell can maintain the shape properly. That's how the plant is staying upright. Otherwise the plant would have fallen down. Understood? Next we will discuss about the cell structure of a plant cell. So plant cell, the first structure we need to discuss is the cell wall, which is a rigid structure. It is providing the support and the shape and also the protection to the cell. Next we can talk about the cell membrane. Cell membrane is a flexible layer and also it is semi-permeable in nature. It is providing the entry and exit of any molecule inside the cell. Now there is cytoplasm. Now cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance which is holding all the organelles present inside the cell. Now there is the most important part, that is chloroplast, because chloroplast contains all the chlorophyll which is important for the photosynthesis process. Next there is mitochondria. Now you all know that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Without it, plant cell or animal cell, whatever it is, it will not be able to produce any kind of energy. Mitochondria produces energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Next, there is Golgi body. Golgi body is modifying or packaging all the proteins that is being produced by the ribosome molecule. Ribosome is very crucial. As you all know, ribosome is helping in protein synthesis. Okay? Next is the large central vacuole. As I already discussed, that if the vacuole is not present there, then the shape will not be maintained properly. That's why the plant cell have a very large vacuole. Okay. Next we will talk about the CEO of the cell, that is the nucleus. Nucleus contains each and every information that the cell going to perform. Nucleus contains the chromosome also. Inside the chromosome the genetic material is there, and so all the necessary information is stored inside this nucleus. Now you can see one region is there, nucleolus. So nucleolus is the region from where ribosomes are being formed. So that's why it is very crucial. Now nuclear envelope is also there. So nucleus in case of the eukaryotic cells, those are protected by double membrane layer that is called nuclear envelope. Okay? I hope you have understood. Now there are 3 questions. You will solve these questions on your own and answer me in the comment section. Next we will talk about the animal cells. Animal cells, as you all know, they lack the cell wall. So the first layer of protection is the cell membrane. And we know that cell membrane is a flexible layer and it is like helping in the transport of different molecules, or like it is semi-permeable. It is controlling the entry and exit of any molecule inside the cell or outside the cell. Next, cytoplasm has the similar work. It is just holding all the cell organelles that is present inside the cell. Nucleus is here again the CEO of the cell, which is containing all the DNA, all the genetic material and all the chromosomes, and performing or giving instruction to all the cell organelles present inside the cell. Nucleolus is also there, which is providing the or producing the ribosome. Mitochondria here also is producing the ATP or the energy. Now rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum is there. So rough endoplasmic reticulum are those part of the endoplasmic reticulum which are attached with the ribosome. Okay, that's why under the microscope it will appear rough. That's why the name rough endoplasmic reticulum. It is helping in the synthesis of protein. So smooth one lacks the ribosome part, so it is helping in the lipids or fat synthesis. Golgi apparatus, here also it is helping in packaging of the DNA. Ribosome is again there and it is producing the proteins. Lysosome is there, which is carrying all the waste materials and digesting it and throwing it outside of the cell. Vacuoles can be present in animal cell. If they are present, they will be very small in size because they will just store some amount of water or any minerals, because they are not providing any shape here in case of the animal cells. That's why the vacuole will be very small in shape. Now, centriole is another portion that is present inside the cell, which is actually helping in cell divisions. Okay, and peroxisome is also there. It is breaking down the fatty acids and also harmful substances. Now here also there are 3 questions there. You will solve it and answer me in the comment section. Next, I will discuss about the difference between the plant cell and the animal cell. So you have to look at this comparison table. Okay, as you all know that plant cell have the cell wall, which is absent in case of the animal cells. Chloroplast is also only present in case of the plant cell. Animal cell do not have that. Vacuole, one large single vacuole will be present in case of the plant cell. Animal cell will lack, or maybe small vacuoles will be there. Shape, the plant cell have a fixed shape, usually rectangular shape, but the animal cells are mostly irregular. Cell membrane is present in both of them. Nucleus is also present in both of them because both are eukaryotic cells. Mitochondria is also present in both of them because mitochondria is producing the energy for both the cells. And centrioles actually is present in only in case of the animal cells. Plant cells lack it. I hope you have understood the difference, right? Thank you for watching this video. So if you want more videos like this, stay connected with this channel. I will upload more and study and grow more. Thank you for watching.